welcome to the Failcast. It's the same setup again, different episode. We'll probably still end up talking about Jesse's geography tips again. I'm Jack. With me is CalibanButcher, also known as Peter.
Hi there.
Jesse?
Hello.
Yeah, what is your actual last name, though?
I like how I don't even get an introduction. It's just, you there?
You've been here too long. You're essentially the Alan Davis to my Stephen Fry.
Oh, that's... Hey. I watch QI, and I love that. I feel like Alan gets way too much... too many insults.
Yeah, so maybe you should identify with him.
Oh. Anyway, you were asking about my last name?
No, I was asking about Caliban's last name, because your name is Peter something.
Yes, something is quite alright, yes.
No, come on.
It's
come on.
See, that's the same reaction you gave me last time, so... I'm not gonna, go on.
Okay,
okay,
Peter.
I work in an international office, so I'm not too startled by the last names.
See, that's what I thought it was, but I don't want to get it wrong. I kind of have a fixation on, I'm going to say, unconventional names, like we had Sega Android on this podcast, and I was determined to get his name right, which is Chirt. I can't remember exactly what his last name is. It's something like Chirt Domo, whatever.
That is an unconventional name, yes. But if
He's
you want to
almost as
remember
tall as
my
you are.
name, there's a really, for English-speaking folks, there's a really easy shortcut. Just imagine a big truck full of pies. Pie truck. Really. That's
Oh,
about
right.
it.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I see. I see what you did there.
Of course.
Anyway, I recently watched, is anyone here familiar with Team 4-Star?
No.
No.
Damn, then I won't bother. Well, basically, they
Oh.
you know what? On the internet, when people do abridged series of anime.
Ah, yes, I know a bridge series. Only Dragon Ball, though.
Yeah, the Team 4-Star do Dragon Ball abridged. Well, Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Ah, I've watched Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Yeah, and basically they were at a convention and they used their character voices to read an excerpt from 50 Shades of Grey.
That sounds hilarious.
It was hilarious, just because obviously these are two voices that I can't do, but they had Gohan doing a bit, and then the guy who he was like talking about like, being tied up and crap, and then the guy who did Piccolo just went, "Be quiet, Gohan."
I saw something like that not too long ago. It was a bunch of character actors doing... It was the first Star Wars movie.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, they did Star Wars, and it was like Bender and... Well, yeah, it was John DiMaggio, Billy West, Tara Strong, whoever does Batman was being the narrator.
The animated
person that
Batman.
Yeah, the animated Batman. There was the person that does Pinky and the person that does the brain.
Yep. The guy that does most of the Animaniac characters.
Yeah.
Must admit, I have not seen that one.
I
Maybe I
absolutely love things like that, just because I'm an impersonator.
stands to reason. But I have seen a good movie lately, which I could, tell you about. Especially since it's a movie which is, again, I don't know, divided the internet into two camps or whatever. It's Spring Breakers. Have you...
Never heard of it.
I only know about the movie because Movie Bob actually
That's why I
liked
bring it up.
Yeah.
That is exactly why I bring it up, because Movie Bob has reviewed the movie, which means that probably a lot of the escapists have heard about it. And there's these two camps. One say the movie has a deeper message and it's spiritual and whatnot, and maybe a mirrored for our times and our generation and everything. And the others say it's just exploitation showing titties and gore for the...
Both good.
Yes, both are good, but I must say those titties are not titillating. I mean, I've watched the
you're
movie.
You're German, so this is sort of your area of expertise.
I've watched the movie and it's really, I know,
Jesse, I'm
I
pretty
see
sure
the breasts and they are very
Yeah.
pretty and the girls are very pretty, but at the same time I'm quite disgusted by what I see.
I see.
Because it's just framed so very well that I think the guy wants you to look at it and know you should be, titillated and aroused and everything.
He wants you to essentially lose your boner.
Exactly, and he
I
manages
see.
to do that very well.
But can I just say, Jesse, you know me at this point. You can't be surprised when I make the nationality jokes.
No, no, it wasn't that. It was Caliban's really bad pun. No.
Yes, and
Oh.
I like puns, and this is a pun I've made several times by now on these forums.
Oh, titillating.
Titillating titties, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, the movie is really good. If you like violence and good soundtrack and a good score, it's less, could be less your thing if you're going in there expecting a more violent version of American Pie, because that's not what it is. Not at all.
Something that shouldn't have been made.
Also, I've, looked up a bit on the Harmony Korine guy, because a good friend of mine is a fan of his, and just wanted to go see Spring Breakers because it was made by him. We both hadn't seen any trailers or anything. We just, we've seen the poster and we knew that it was made by Harmony Korine. And apparently Harmony Korine is known for making really fucked up movies. Like, really fucked up. I mean, the last movie he made was apparently called Trash Humpers.
Oh,
And the title
wow.
alone gives away that it's maybe or may not be, right in the head. But that's not the
Yeah.
worst thing he's ever done. I think
What was the worst thing he's ever done?
I am in disagreement with my friend about that because my friend believes it to be Gumbo, a movie about a city that's hit by a bad storm and the bored teenagers just, kind of go very, very wild. They torture cats, they have unprotected sex, do drugs and everything.
So it's basically adolescent Lord of the Flies.
Yes, it's adolescent Lord of the Flies. It's completely disgusting.
Fair enough.
And the other, but I still think that Kent Park is worse than that. Which
Oh, what's Kent Park about?
adolescent teenagers being dicks again. I think there is.
Wait, hang on. What's that movie that's coming out where America has like rock bottom crime rates, but the reason for that is because
Oh.
one day a year
Yes,
they have
I saw.
a day where nothing is punished.
I
So
s-
people basically go and fucked up like rape and murder riots for a day, and then just
Wouldn't it make sense to just, for that day stock up on a lot of ammunition and shoot
well,
everyone coming
basically
close to
the,
you?
the plot centers
Oh.
around, from what I've seen from this trailer. Let me say it. It's my anecdote. The plot centers around like this relatively like quite wealthy family, and they've installed like big ass metal shutters on their house, so the night happens because it's a night rather than a day actually. So they bring down these shutters, and basically no one can get in. But then this girl's watching through their like CCTV system, and there's this guy getting chased, and he's like, "Oh God, help me, help me, help me!" So she opens it to let him in, and then the people are like knocking on their door, and they're like, "You've got our sacrifice for tonight's purge or whatever the fuck it's called. Let him let us take him, or we'll kill you all." And it's like, oh shit.
So it's called The Purge.
Yeah, the purge.
I have not heard of that movie before. It seems interesting.
It sounds crazy, and I want to watch it and then be scarred for life.
Oh, if you want to be scarred for life, I have just a movie for you. It's called
dear.
Kids. Again, the title is very innocent.
In this case, the kids aren't all right.
No, they are not all right. They are most definitely not all right.
Well, don't ruin it for me. I'll look it up after this podcast.
Oh, you do that. You go watch it right now, and we'll just enjoy hearing you whimper. I've
Fair enough.
the same guy that showed me Harmony Korine has shown me Kids, and I must say I think Kids and Kent Park are about on the same level of fucked upness.
I see. On a lighter note, you said that you've watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yes, I have seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
How much of it have you seen?
I've seen Vegeta being, coming to Earth, getting kicked back off to Earth, and then disappearing into space. I haven't seen the Namek episodes yet.
Oh damn! Because one of the people that I can voice is Guru.
Oh, I can't, haven't
Oh,
heard him
that's a
yet.
shame. Just when you get onto Guru, you will love Guru.
I'll make sure to check him out soon.
Yeah, it's good. I can do Mr. Popo though.
Mr. Popo is the scary one, isn't he?
Yeah.
The one with the flashbacks.
Yes.
And then do Mr. Popo.
Bye.
That was very accurate indeed.
Yeah, well, that was just bye, wasn't it? Alright, maggots, listen up. Popo's about to teach you the pecking order. It goes you, the dirt, the worms inside of the dirt, Popo's stool, Kami, then Popo.
Uh,
How was that?
It was very good indeed, but just if you know the original series and the abridged series, Popo is just very much different.
Yeah, because in the original series, he's all like this like really benevolent like person that's really emotionally touched by whenever anything happens to any of the characters, and then because the funny thing is that I think the reason why they did that is because every time someone sees him for the first time, they're really freaked out, so they've just taken that to the nth degree.
That might be, but now every time anyone ever comes in contact with him, he's really freaked out forever.
That's just because that's Popo. I love it when Goku sees him, he starts spazzing out, and they have to sedate him.
Yes, spring breaks. Oh, and
Anyway,
yes.
video games.
Oh yeah.
God dang it, Jack.
That was your line.
Yes. Anyway, video games. Actually, Jack, before we start that, I was just thinking a couple of weeks back when we were talking about, dinosaurs in one cast, and you had mentioned you wanted to see a movie called With Dinosaurs and Cowboys.
Oh, and you told me about one called like
Valley of
something
Gwangi.
or other.
Have you seen
Okay.
the trailer for that yet?
No, I haven't.
I rewatched it and I realized it was even more silly than I remember. But it was in black and white. It was in color. I thought it was in black and white, but it looks.
Oh, that makes it even better. I'm not really
It
a fan of
does.
black and white films, except for Schindler's List, which is very poignant.
Have you seen The Artist?
No.
It's also a black and white movie, and it's not all bad. And of course,
I
there are
see.
great many brilliant black and white movies made in a time when black and white was
See,
all they
it's just
had.
that I kind of have a thing that datedness annoys me. It's why, even though I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, although I've kind of gone off it with Stephen Moffat, even though I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, I can't watch the older ones.
Because black and white annoys you?
Well, not just the black and white, but just like the cheesiness, like the homespunness of the effects. Just like I said, datedness in general annoys me. I only really liked it in things like Schindler's List because it was a film made in the 90s and the black and whiteness was purposeful, and you could tell that because you get the blood, which would still be red and stuff.
You should just go and watch Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator for a change, and also what's it called? I only know the German title. I have to look up the English one for you, because Le Salaire de la Peur. Okay, that's French. Doesn't really help you, does it now? The Wages of Fear. It's also in black and white, and it's also a great movie. And if you've watched Casablanca, you should just,
Oh, I haven't watched Casablanca.
You should totally do that. You should do that and then apologize to every black and white movie. Hmm?
I just don't think I'd enjoy it in this. I just don't think I would enjoy it. Is the thing. That said, I'm kind of like that with literature as well. Like people always go, "Oh, you're this really bookish person, and you're a writer, and you love like the finer points of writing and stuff. Why haven't you read all this classic literature?" And it's just like, well, why? Just because it's old doesn't make it good.
But being good makes it good,
Well, maybe, but I don't know. I think it's complicated, but just like kind of. It's not that I don't necessarily like old stuff, but for using Lord of the Flies as an example, I didn't get very far into that. Although I do know what happens, I didn't get that far into it just because the writing style kind of annoyed me quite a bit.
Have you read, for example, The Great Gatsby?
Oh.
No, but then that's because that's just like one of those like massive. Like I said, I don't really do classic literature all that much.
Wait, that's massive? I've read that book in 4 hours. It can't be that bad then.
Well, no, I didn't mean it was like massive as in like physically. I meant like it's massive as in like it's The Great Gatsby, and it's just like oh.
Good thing I didn't know that. I just got it, some time ago and read it because I heard it was a good book. Not because I thought, maybe...
Oh yeah, this got us into a conversation about the Vlogbrothers when you brought it up before. Have you since checked them out?
Have I seen what?
Remember, we were talking about books, and you said that that your favourite novel, or one of your favourite novels, was The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
And I replied that was also the favourite novel of John Green, who you said you'd never heard of. And I said that he was an author, and he was one of the two Vlogbrothers who you said that you had also never heard of. And I explained them to you, and you were basically really annoyed that you'd never heard of them before.
Yes, I have checked them out a bit, yeah. But of course you can't, ask me specifics for the videos because first, I don't really know how many videos I've watched of them already.
Did
and
you
second,
enjoy
they
them?
have way too many videos.
Yeah, but did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did enjoy it.
Have you looked at Crash Course at all?
Oh no, I have not yet. Didn't have
well,
time really.
Well, go for the first episode of Crash Course World History. You'll love it.
I'm certain I will.
Oh yes. Also, it's the effects for it are very well done. It's all very entertaining to watch.
Oh, that's always nice.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I think that if something's entertaining, it will generally be better for have more educational value. That's the way to put it.
Yeah.
I've been told I have pretty bad taste in books. It doesn't help.
What's your favorite?
Well, it
What's
doesn't.
your favorite novel, Jesse?
It doesn't help that in freshman year of high school, it was almost all Charles Dickens, and that era just never appealed to me. The characters never appealed to me. I can tell you my worst, the one I hate absolutely the most out of any book I've ever read. Great Expectations.
Oh, I like the South Park version of that one.
What?
Yes, the South Park version of Great Expectations.
Then in sophomore year, we moved on to where almost all the books we read were Shakespeare. And I started to I liked it a little more because the characters at least had some, I don't know, characterization. And they did die at least, which was nice.
Yes.
Junior year was the best for me because in junior year we got to American folk literature. And we got to talk about authors that I actually grew up with, like Mark Twain, Bret Hart,
Mark
John
Steinbeck, a genius.
Certainly.
And I
Mark
actually,
Twain is brilliant.
I grew up in a area where my junior high and high school were in a different town from the small town I lived in. And Mark Twain actually wrote a very popular story, that takes place in that area. So I lived next to a town called Angels Camp. And Mark Twain wrote a story called The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. So every year we would have our little frog jumping jubilee and everything. But but going back to it, I like Western folk literature more than I like a lot of what people call the classics. And it just never really, I don't know. Like, I still read Louis L'Amour, and a lot of people will flinch at that because they say, oh, he's so generic Western. But I like the characters, I like the story, I like the regions it takes place in. I just never got drawn into, old-time London or old-time New York. That just...
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
That never really appealed to me. Yeah.
I feel like, if I ever am successful in my writing career, I would certainly give consideration to sort of, I think I would go to America for this because it gives you more control. Going to America and teaching a course in university, because as I understand it, with US university courses, you can sort of build them from the ground up.
I don't really know about, university courses in England nor the
Jesse,
USA.
you work at university, am I right?
I'm sorry, you're asking about university courses?
Like, okay, I'm somewhat familiar with a US history teacher who in university, and basically he created sort of his own curriculum and course.
Oh yeah, and you do get a lot of freedom when creating
that's what I mean.
a class, yeah.
So I do like a writing course and like a course about literature sort of thing. I'm not saying that I would ignore classic literature, but I just feel like that's the thing in schools. They just shove it down your throat, and I think there's a lot that you're not learning from sort of what's been written in the last couple of decades.
Yeah,
that's true, of course, but I think that basics are very important as well, and having read some of the classics of literature is quite important for an aspiring writer. Just because some of them are classics, because they're actually very, very good, even today.
Yeah, I'm not denying that, and I'm not saying, like I said, not that I would ignore them, but I just think that it would be interesting and probably quite beneficial to some people, maybe, if I did end up being able to just sort of build a course and, just kind of... Well, I'm thinking that I wouldn't necessarily have set books. It would be somewhat open, so people could sort of suggest things, and, because that way I might get something out of it as well, find a new book that I wouldn't have otherwise have read.
That's a bad idea.
Most of the point, I think I could be a good teacher in general.
If you could find ways to get students to read online or through their library, so that we're not stuck with these massive expensive books that if I don't like the story, I then have to pawn at a reduced rate.
Yeah, maybe.
There is a very easy way for that now. It's called a Kindle. Most of these classics are very much free. For example, I got myself a Kindle a few weeks back, and I already have more classics than I ever had before.
Yeah.
I got all of them for either next to nothing or nothing at all.
Yeah. For classic literature, that's easy. You can get most of that for free on Amazon. But a lot of other textbooks, like I can understand science and being maybe something where science courses where you might need a specialized book and you might not be able to find that online. But when you're talking about other literature, I don't know, like maybe make it a way where I don't know, like I just don't want to be stuck with a huge textbook of stories I hate.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think if there was definitely
That-
one book that I was going to sort of having concrete that I'd have students read if I was a teacher would be Stephen King's Gunslinger, just because that's one of my favourite books of all time, and I think there's a lot you can kind of learn from it, from pace and narrative.
It's a very good book, I have to admit. Yeah.
And yeah, it's only a couple hundred pages long, which means you're getting all this sort of thing down and very quickly, so they wouldn't have to spend ages going over it. Because one pet peeve that I always have with teachers was, you read a book, and you read a little bit of it, you get started, and you be like, oh, maybe this is quite interesting. And then they'd do one of two things. They'd A, spoil the ending for you by having you go over, analyse the plot in general, or they would just skip huge sections of it to get through it quickly.
Both of these aren't really valid strategies to get people interested in the movie or the book or anything.
Like, I remember when we were reading Treasure Isle when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, hey, and it's like, oh, we're going to skip 3 chapters forward. And then, it didn't happen to me, but then we were reading Of Mice and Men, and then one of the other English classes who were also reading Of Mice and Men, but had this kind of subpar English teacher, was that they read the first, chapter or so in class, and then she gave them a worksheet, and it was like, so, why do you think George killed Lenny?
What?
Yeah. Oh, it was pretty bad.
That's a bit harsh.
It was just...
I always
This is George, and this is Lenny.
But I gotta say, when it comes to reading in school, I think my least favorite book I've ever read in school was one about... It was a very, very big book. It was a piece of literature and everything, considered to be, I don't know, educational and whatnot. And it was just horrible. It was about a guy. It was written in from his perspective, and I don't know the correct English word anymore for that one. It was written from the view of the narrator,
First
and he
person.
basically told everyone why he was miserable all the time,
Right.
and that later on we find out that he is gay, and that I think his boyfriend slept with his best friend or something, and then they both left him, and it all turns to hell, and his sister is a complete psychopath, and we're still supposed to feel for him and for the sister, who clearly
But
has
because
mental
he's come
problems.
off like a bit of a miserable git, you don't really like him.
No, we don't like him. I really hate this book with a passion. And
Fair enough.
I have had to read the Twilight books because I was very bored one time,
Oh,
and they were the only books around, which made me...
God.
And I was desperate for something to read. And I still think that I hate this one book more than I hate the Twilight series as books.
Fair enough.
Because the Twilight series books, they are despicable and for everything they stand for and for everything they've done to pop culture. But at
Yeah,
least
not,
I can
not
feel
just
kind
the
of...
writing quality, which is tragically terrible, but also just the values that they're putting out.
Oh yes, the values are
Seeing
the values are
seeing
great.
Stephanie Meyer is an old-fashioned Mormon housewife.
Probably, yes, the values are...
No, she literally is an old-fashioned Mormon housewife. I'm not overstating that.
Wow.
Exactly.
That explains the fucked up values.
It does. Oh, but I hate to keep going about Stephen King. It's just in the last couple of years I've just come to realize how amazing Stephen King actually is. But a really good book is 11/22/63, about a man who he finds sort of like a way back in time, just like coincident. Well, someone else finds it. It's complicated. So basically, he ends up going back to 1957 and ends up having to wait several years in that time period, so he can stop the Kennedy assassination. And so, it's about that, but then it's also about his life through those years and how he has to juggle it, and how he it's just a really good book in general, just kind of with the characters and also the thrilling aspect of having to do something like that.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's got a very good way of sort of analysing the 50s and 60s.
I might have to give that a read if I get
It's
around
also
to
a
it.
total brick, so it will last you a while.
Well, the total bricks only last me a while if, they are hard to read as well. And as far as I know, Stephen King, they are very easy to read.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's huge. It's like the size of Order of the Phoenix.
I've read that one in one day, so
Okay, that's impressive.
I'm a very fast reader. I've read all three Lord of the Rings books in one day as well.
Yeah. I do have the whole speed reading thing down. It's just that I don't like to sort of get into that and then just be like, oh my god, this is incredible. Oh, it's done. So I like to just kind of like break up my reading with other things.
Oh no, I like to devour books as fast as possible and get
Well-
all of them inside of me.
Not creepy at all.
No.
The only time I'm likely to read a book in a day would be when I'm on holiday, but even then, that's made much less likely by the fact that, you know, I want to go swimming, I want to walk around in wherever I am.
You know, the best thing I've done so far is probably I came home from the holidays and the newest Harry Potter book was waiting for me.
Oh.
And it just driven through the night and I couldn't sleep because I was in the car. So I got home and I saw the book and I went to bed. But I didn't sleep. I just stayed up the rest of the night, all 5 hours of it, to read the book. I came down for breakfast and I was finished with the book. And after that, I went to sleep.
Fair enough. Yeah, I remember I was meant to be going to someone's birthday party, but it coincided with the day that I was given the 6th Harry Potter book.
Oh.
And yeah. That person didn't see me that day.
I can imagine. The Harry
Oh.
Potter books are really, they were quite the phenomenon, if you
Yeah,
will.
she's not, like, if you look at it analytically, she's not the best, sort of in terms of prose writer, but Jesus Christ, I love the hell out of those books. I grew up with them.
Yeah. I think we now have a generation of people that grew up with Harry Potter books. Except for the ones that now chose Twilight and read only Twilight and, make me weep for humanity.
You realise, of course, that we can't touch vampires for a few years.
Yes, I know that. We can't do vampires anymore because now it's all
which is a
Twilight
shame
or
because
anti-Twilight.
You know how I have a lot of novel ideas?
Yes.
I feel like if it weren't for that I could do something interesting with vampires, but now I don't want to touch them with a 10-foot barge pole.
It's too
because
bad.
I don't want to be attacked by hordes of freaky tween people and 40-year-old mothers who have no sex lives.
Then again, I have seen online reviews of, I think it was Dracula, written by angry Twilight fans.
I'm pretty sure that the majority of those are trolling.
I hope so. I really do. I really hope so.
I'm pretty obviously there would be like some sincere ones mixed in there, but trust me, the internet at large is aware of those.
But yeah, even if there are some sincere ones they are one too many. Even if it's only just one person that is not a troll, it's one person too many. I don't know what to say to them anymore. It just makes one weep for humanity and reach for the doomsday device again.
Again.
Again?
Yes, again. I mean, I haven't said anything. Forget I said anything. I mean,
blah 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 Holocaust joke.
now that was uncalled for.
I feel like I phoned that one in.
No, you know what would have been phoned in? If I had responded like this. I refute the accusation. My grandfather died in Auschwitz. He fell off the watchtower. I'll have you know.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, the blah blah blah.
I have a
no,
good friend
my
of mine who
grandfather
manages to
died in
go-
Auschwitz because some shithead fell on him out of a watchtower, sort of thing.
Actually,
Yes.
but with Caliban saying it, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I'm German, that makes it all the worse. But I have a group of friends and we managed to get perfect this because, the third guy will say, oh, my grandfather died in Auschwitz as well. He was shot trying to loot the bodies of 2 fellow officers. And the next guy will chime in. Well, my grandfather died in Auschwitz as well. He was... he tried to have sex with the corpses of 3 officers and he was shot on sight. And then the next one for the grand finale. Oh, my grandfather died in Auschwitz as well. He shot himself after seeing a 5-man necro-Nazi orgy.
God.
But of course, seeing as we are German, we rarely get the opportunity to make this joke without, everyone being all serious and it
People just
isn't
being
funny and the
laughing
Holocaust.
time
you
is
don't-
over.
Yes, exactly. You don't make jokes about the Holocaust or the atrocities committed back then, but we do anyways because, yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I think it's, my grandfather would make jokes about the Germans that he fought against. It's, I don't know, for some people, they can move beyond that pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Have you heard the joke that's a man was in an airport trying to go to he was getting off a plane in a French airport and was like, oh, we need to see your passport, and he was like, why? And it was like, well, unless you've been to France before, or all this crap. And he's like, well, I have been to France before, but last time I came to France, no one needed to check my passport. Why? Well, you see, I came up on the beach, but when I got there were no Frenchmen around for miles.
Oh.
Okay.
And
I
the best thing
gotta
about that joke is you could be American, British, or Canadian.
You know it's bad when the Canadians say it's bad when the Canadians can say that you were spineless.
Oh, that was a low blow to the French people. They don't deserve that. The French people actually had a garrison. What's it called? The Legion of Strangers or something? Fremdenlegion in German. And they actually fought their way from Africa to Paris, to free Paris, to do their duty and the honorable thing, and they were turned away because some of them were Negroes, and they weren't allowed to fight there.
That's pretty terrible.
Yes, and they were turned away by their allies, the French people, not by the Germans.
Oh, you don't help us just because racial segregation.
Yes, that's just. But if you want some more German Holocaust and just terrible jokes, I have a lot of those to go around.
Right, so video
Quite-
games.
Yes, video games.
Yeah,
Oh, I've
change the
played
topic.
Sniper
Oh,
Elite,
come on!
Volume 2 lately. Yes, I'm sorry, but it's just the latest video game I've played, I think.
Okay.
And I did the Assassinate the Führer. Or what is it called? I don't know the correct pronunciation for fake German accents in English.
Well, we just say Führer, I think.
Yeah.
Basically, it was Töte den Führer. And I shot Hitler through the balls. Because that's the only way to do it in my...
You mean the ball?
Yes, the ball, I'm sorry. Because he only had one.
Hitler, he's only got one ball, the other is in Albert Hall. His mother, the bloody fucker, cut it off when he was small. It rolled into the deep blue sea and the fishes ate it up for tea. That was the song that we'd always sing when I was a kid about Hitler.
And with this musical number, we come back to video games again.
Fizz,
Feels like a cutaway joke.
Fizz, you can turn Jack's volume up now. He's done.
Now you have to she should include that part as like a post outro music piece.
Oh.
It's like the outro whoop step, whatever the fuck music it is plays, and then just me singing.
Just see how many people in the comments even listen to the end of it.
We don't really get comments all that.
I know. I commented once, and someone said I was making fun of made fun of the Americans, and then
You are American.
yeah.
We should just, we could try to post this Failcast in its own thread on the off-topic board. Maybe some people will listen to it then.
Maybe.
It's what I did with the Sexism Communicast, which...
Yeah, but this isn't really a special, so...
Yeah.
Then make a big thread for all the Failcasts, because,
Maybe.
updates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in any case,
So,
games.
Yeah. Recently,
I've been...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, God, Jesse. I've been playing Borderlands 2 lately, which slightly coincided with Nazrin's review of it. Like, I was playing it a couple of days before, and then I was like, okay, that's enough for now. Ooh, Nazrin's posted a thing about Borderlands 2. Time to play some more Borderlands 2 then.
Did you like the game?
Oh, Borderlands 2 is a very good game.
Because I've played it with a friend of mine, and you played quite a bit, and I just didn't, snap with me. I really love the first one. I've played through that one a few times, but the second one just, I don't know. The weapon seems so rare, and there's so little loot, really. There's less loot somehow.
I like it as a game you can play with a friend, but on my own, I kind of lose interest when I'm just roaming around on my own.
Well, I have like a main that I'm playing on my own just because obviously I think that playing with other people kind of interrupts all like the dialogue and a lot of the jokes they try to go for and the story. So I'm playing it for that. But then I also have another character that my friend comes round who doesn't own the game, so we just play split screen together, which is always quite fun, but just in different in ways. But I do enjoy it as a single player experience as well.
I haven't had the opportunity to try it as a single player experience yet, but I doubt that I will buy it because I don't really have time to play video games anymore, not as much as I used to, and I think the one that really interests me is Far Cry 3.
Oh, Far Cry 3 is a good game.
So that
It's
might be
got
the next game I'm gonna
some
get.
very good driving mechanics. Also, it never gets tiring for me just to get into a car and then just like reggae music starts blasting over the radio as I'm running down pirates.
That sounds like fun, I gotta admit.
It's very fun.
A game that I never tire of is Just Cause 2 still.
Just Cause 2 annoys me just because of how bad the voice acting and the story is.
I am aware that there is a voice acting and that there is a story, and just don't, I
Yeah,
never
see-
really cared for it.
So that's
Because
the thing
there
with
was,
all-
there was a cutscene, and if there were no ninjas or nuclear submarines involved, I would just skip it immediately, so I
Yeah.
could
See, that's the
take
thing
my
with
grappling
Far
hook
Cry
and kill people.
it's like, it's comparable to Just Cause in its free roam, but the advantage of it actually having an interesting story, likable characters, and all that.
Well, yes, for interesting story, I've also read good things of course, a game that I have to get is Bioshock Infinite. I haven't played that one either.
I'm thinking, because I've not really had a chance to play them, just because I thought I misunderstood what someone's description of the first Bioshock was, because they're like, oh, objectivism and stuff, and I thought it was going to be a pro-objectivism game, which I didn't want to touch because I freaking hate objectivists. No offense, but objectivists, you're just scum. Yeah, so I didn't end up touching the Bioshock trilogy, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I think I just want to go back and play all 3 games in order.
You want to play all 2 games in order, we don't talk about the second one.
I don't care. I'm just gonna play Bioshock 2 because I'm obsessive compulsive about getting it all done in the order that.
Are
was
you one
made.
of those 100% guys who has to get every little thing in the game?
Not even that, but just with story.
Ah, okay. And then again, we don't talk about Bioshock 2 because it just tacked on. I don't really think it features into the story at all.
I don't really care. Like even like if I'm watching a series, and it's been run into the ground, and I like the series before, even though it's been run into the ground, I will carry on watching it just because I'm
Like
like "Ooh, these
Bleach at the
characters
moment.
again." With the exception of Doctor Who, because obviously the Doctor Who regenerates and there's new assistants, so obviously all the characters that I cared about at that point were gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, for example, it would, I think, apply to Bleach or Naruto. I think
Yeah, see, that's why I don't watch those, just because I would be in it till the end if I actually got attached.
good thing because I really like reading them a while back, and now every once in a while I will click the newest chapter, and it's just so ridiculous. There are powers at play that I don't know how anyone is still alive there, because every time I check, it's biggest sword or the biggest explosion or the biggest I don't know whatever, who just gets killed off by an
Yeah.
even bigger thing.
Although that said, I have like been checking out series now, just keep like going off them after a few episodes. Not that I don't like them, but an example is Breaking Bad. I need to get back into Breaking Bad. That I just kind of like I'd watch like an episode every couple of days, and then I just didn't. But it seems like a really good series, so I'm gonna want to get back to it. But that's what I've been doing a lot lately, and it really annoys me because I do have to sort of like see all of everything.
You should watch all of Breaking Bad, yes.
Yes.
It's just so good.
Yes, and Jess needs to watch it so that I can keep making Jesse Pinkman jokes.
Of course. You haven't watched Breaking Bad yet, Jesse.
I have not.
To watch
Why
it.
not?
I don't really watch very much television. Because when I
That
get
is not an
when
excuse.
when I get home from work, it's like I could watch television or I could play games, but all that takes place after walking my dog and getting other stuff done. So I don't know, and I haven't watched television in a really long time actually. I have Netflix and that's about it. And even
Yeah,
that I
that's one of
don't
the
use too
reasons
much.
That's one of the reasons I want to be a writer, is because I feel like, if I was a very successful sort of novelist, I would have a decent amount of leisure time, and honestly, I feel like once you have money, this isn't just why I want to be an author, I love writing, it's something I really enjoy, but other than that, it's like, I feel like what you do outside of what you do to actually have a roof over your head is where you accomplish most in life a lot of the time. And
True.
that might just be having sort of leisure activities, and obviously a lot of that will be gaming, but I also just want to have time to do whatever I want, whatever fancy takes me.
Yeah. Well, right now we're still technically, well, we're technically spring, but it's still winter in Wyoming and Colorado. We haven't. It keeps snowing
yes,
and
I, a
nonstop.
British person, don't know how you feel at all.
Anyway,
I've seen the sun today, I think.
some today. Anyway, what I was
Yes.
saying was, it's cold outside, not a lot to do. When it gets a little warmer, I'm gonna be gardening outside.
Sorry.
I do gardening a little bit, and I'm gonna be doing that a lot. Once it gets warm out, I'm gonna be going up to the mountains again all the time, taking my dog out there. So I'm gonna be spending most of my free time outside, and then I have, for work this summer, I have a couple of things to do, some training and some conferences out in Colorado I have to go to. So actually, the winter is the best time for me to play games. I've actually gone back and started replaying Age of Empires 2 because I still have the disc. Even though all
my favourite RTS, I don't really... A lot of RTSs bug me because, because it's like, it's not so much about pitching your armies or anything, it's more about just spamming unit creation in the right order. Which is why I when it comes to RTSs, I generally prefer the Total War series because all you have is the troops that you brought in from the overworld or what you set up in at the beginning of a custom battle.
Yeah,
And
well,
from there on, you actually have to move them around strategically. I think that's better.
yeah, there will be a strategy game cast coming out a little later with me and Fappy and Total Truth. But what you're talking about is what we call tactical, where you have set units versus base building.
So can I come on there and represent the Total War group?
Okay.
When is it?
As soon as we can get Fappy on board, he's kind of busy, and we gotta catch Toa Truth before he goes to Germany.
Hey Caliban, you can intercept him and murder him.
No, we don't have plans to murder each other. We just, we have an epic duel scheduled. But we hope to make it out alive of that.
Crippled but alive.
I won't be crippled. I don't
He
plan
will
on
be
being
because
crippled.
you're a 6'7" or 6'8", whatever the fuck it was, giant.
Yes, I don't plan on being crippled anytime soon.
You would be like that person that someone would attack you with an axe and the axe blade would just break on your skin.
That would be very funny indeed. And I cannot comment on any German super soldier projects I may or may not have been a part of.
You fucking behemoth.
It'd be like
But yes,
watching James Bond versus Jaws.
See, if I do go
But that
into
makes Toad of Truth James Bond, and we are both evil, so you can't really have that.
Okay.
Well, okay, just take me for instance, a decidedly average-sized person. If I make it into the Royal Marines and I have that training, I would love to be put into a close quarters combat fight just with someone your size, because it would essentially be like that scene in Hot Fuzz where Simon Pegg knocks out the trolley boy.
Yes.
But you'll have to hope that the huge guy isn't, just as well trained as you are, because then
but
you're in
I'm-
for a wild ride.
Yeah, but I'm awesome.
So
Just
will
use
that-
a Kamehameha.
Will that be on
It always
pay-per-view, or will you be posting that on YouTube?
Both.
Okay.
Pay-per-view. I want to make money off my killing someone.
But yes, anyway, back to Toad of Truth. We are trying to, schedule a date to meet each other because, well, he's an escapist forum user I like. I'm apparently a user he likes, so why not, meet up in real life?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what Escapism UK is basically going to be. Although for some reason we're also getting Geert Doma from the Netherlands. So
Yeah, I have my finals this summer. I can't make it to the Escapism UK.
you should try them to next year though,
I will try to do that.
because I should be able to make that one as well, because it'll be in July most likely, which is when I would be on holiday regardless.
Okay, July is always bad, I think, because that's when the last exams are. Last tests. I will have to check when they are next year. But if I can make it, I will be there, and we can have an epic battle as well.
Cool.
So,
Battle of wits, of course.
Oh damn, I'm pretty good at sword fighting.
so I have a question for both of you. in terms of education, you mentioned like the summer exams. What is a school year like for you?
Well, for me at least, terms start in September. Obviously, around late December we break up for Christmas holidays and then come back at some point in January. From there on, we have Easter and whatever. Um, at least in Craven College, the college that I'm at which is what I do before university essentially. We had some June. Yeah, no, we had some January exams, but they are scrapping those next year. I know, because people just reset exams in January and don't really pay attention to their June exams. But anyway, after that we have like the second sort of cluster of exams in May/June, and at least at the college that I am, once you've pretty much done your last exam, you can just walk out and not come back until results day, because obviously there's nothing to do.
Well, I'm at university already, so I'm studying medicine, and it's 2 semesters each year, and the first one is from October till February, and we start in October, and usually don't have that many tests during the semester itself, but at the end of the semester they all hit pretty big. And then we have 1 or 2 months of free time, and then it's the second semester for the year. It's it's this time it's April till July, and in July we'll have all the exams again. Different than to last year, because last year we had some exams in the middle of the semester and some in the beginning even. And this year we also have the Physicum. It's basically a milestone on the way to becoming a doctor, and it will be in August, so even later. And it's a really big exam, and I'll have to prepare for that a lot. But that's the big summer exams this year.
Okay, so it sounds like your break is mostly late summer, early fall, whereas I guess for America and Britain, it's summer is the vacation time.
Yeah, that's why they call it the summer holiday.
Yeah, holiday.
Well, I think that's accurate, yes.
What is holiday in German?
Urlaub. Ferien also, so depending on...
It's a very terse language.
Have you seen the I think it was a meme picture? The difference in languages with butterfly.
It's like, butterfly, and the German one always sounds really angry.
The German one is Schmetterling.
Yeah, Schmetterling.
It's, even Germans are perplexed by that. We have a dragon or a certain type of dragon is called a Lindwurm, which sounds really, wimpy. And then we have the butterfly, which is a Schmetterling. And a German story or tale, or fable, I don't know what you want to call it, revolves around those two meeting and, talking about how they hate their names. How they're really, really unhappy because the Schmetterling always gets shunned because his name is too violent, and no one takes the Lindworm serious because he seems too soft. So I think they trade names actually. So it's the Schmetterwurm, now the dragon, and the Lindling for butterfly.
Fair enough.
And I'm trying to think back a couple of years ago, but if I'm right, so frog was Krot?
No,
Krot?
a toad is Kröte.
Oh, okay. And a turtle is Schildkröte. So it's like
Exactly.
it's like shielded frog or shielded toad. Sorry.
Yes.
I thought that was a cool little name you gave, because like toad, and then I guess the first time turtles were seen, they're like, well, it's kind of like a toad, but it's got a shield on it, so it's a shield toad.
The other possible explanation would, of course, be that the knights just saw the turtle or the tortoise, and just picked him up and used it as a shield in an epic battle.
I can just imagine that someone just running around with a turtle strapped to their arm, just beating people with it.
Well, it's like those small shields they developed later. For like, I can see like a Spaniard using it, where you have a sword and you have these smaller parrying shields. They're like maybe like a foot in diameter around your wrist.
Yeah.
Just strapping a turtle on.
Just strap on one of those big Galapagos tortoises,
Oh.
and you're set for for the real battle against a guy with a Zweihander. Which is awesome. It's also awesome that the word Zweihänder made it into the English language, because it's one of the nicest words we have, I think, for big swords.
Oh, two-hander. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I knew I didn't hear the second word. I heard zwei, and I didn't hear what the other word was.
Yes, two-hander. Zweihänder.
Okay.
Sounds awesome.
I love coming across words that I think are generally English, and I find out they're not English at all. Like, for a long time, I never understood why we use the word gross to talk about, like, a something big. Like, a gross misunderstanding is a big misunderstanding. And then after taking German, I understand, oh, gross is like, if I remember right, it was large.
Yes, it is.
So, it's a large misunderstanding. It's just one of those German words that carried on, and for some reason we never changed it, or we still use it in place of large, but a lot of Americans don't realize what it actually means, or it's the word gross, which now becomes, a lot of Americans, when they hear the word, they think, well, doesn't that mean like something sick?
So the meaning has been changed a bit.
Yeah, because if we see something that's kind of disgusting, we use the word, now it's gross. It's a gross thing. So now in America it has two meanings.
Interesting. But I think in Germany, of course, we have a lot of Anglicisms because, we like to adopt words we like into our language. So I think the best example would be our word for cell phone, which is handy. It
Handy.
sounds English, but no English person would ever use the word handy to describe his cell phone, or to name his cell phone, basically.
For some reason, you just gave me a really like a really weird mental image of like having. What would it be? Of having like a game show, just like, oh, your word can join our language.
Yeah, the Germans are very prolific in, inventing new words for stuff, because we can just use two existing words and kind of screw them together, and a new word is born.
Yes,
like
and
that.
you do that a lot, especially with big words. I can't
But of
think
course,
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I can remember some pretty large words in German that were just taken.
oh, I have one for you if you want to.
Okay,
The word Interoperabilitätsliste. Interoperabilitätsliste.
You'll have to remind me
It's a
what
very
lister
large word.
was.
Excuse me?
The last part of that.
Liste.
So it's LIE.
STE.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that word meant. I can't remember.
Just now try scratching off the E at the end.
Lice. Oh,
List.
list. Sorry, I can't remember. Yeah,
It's the...
I remember talking to Toa Truth in the forums, and he's correcting my. I had mentioned the word Österreich, and he had mentioned how it would be done in the sentence, the context of the sentence. And I was just remembering how jealous I was of, God, you can remember your German because you're still in it. And for me, it's been years. And if you don't
That's how I feel about...
if you don't speak
French.
a language, you're going to forget about it very quickly.
Yes, I can already feel my French deteriorating. It's just getting worse and worse every day.
Yeah. I took French in high school. The only thing I really remember of it was, to train us, we got to watch the French version of Sesame Street on Télé Français. And imagine our Sesame Street in America, but with a tenth of the budget and no imagination. Like,
I have to say,
the main-
I've never watched...
there was only one puppet, and it was a pineapple. And he'd just come on screen and go, Je suis un nana. And that was about it, and that's all we really remember.
Oh god.
And it was they were two kids in a junkyard. We're just like,
I think
really?
it was just an actual junkyard. It wasn't even a prop.
Oh, I haven't thought
Two
about
children
that.
Just being homeless.
I never thought about that.
With the French and their history for strange movies and, being depressed, I could actually imagine that.
Yes. Apparently, my sister's friend. My sister was telling us about her friend who went on a holiday to France, and all he could remember of French was obviously the stuff he'd learned in school. And other than that, the only phrase that he picked up, I can't remember what it was basically for when he went out into clubs and stuff and like tried to chat with women, and it was the phrase that meant, "I'm going to make a lot of money one day."
Well, that is it's an important phrase to know if you're talking to someone. And I was told by a teacher of mine that French soldiers back in the day, German soldiers, only knew one sentence in French. And that was, "Do you want to sleep with me?" So yes, they had their priorities straight, it seems.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to know that sentence? You seem a bit eager.
I said, uh-huh. How was that eager?
It was a very fast So, I mean, if you ever meet a French girl, that might be important. Then again, you could just, communicate your intentions via, I don't know,
Pelvic thrust.
dry yes, dry humping or pelvic thrusting. The universal language of every place.
Yeah.
Where were we again?
I don't know.
I don't know, but we've reached dry humping. It's, remarkable.
Maybe we should wrap this one up.
Okay.
Yes, a good thing to end the show on.
Fair enough. Right. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
This is an hour of your life you'll never get back, although Fizz will probably trim it down to slightly under an hour, considering it's 59 minutes. Now. Hitler, he's only got one ball, the other is in Albert Hall. His mother, the bloody fucker, cut it off when